All right. All right. Welcome, everyone. I'm Gavin from Chinese Medicine Education and China Book Sydney. So thank you for joining us today on your lunch break. Um, I'm here today with Daniel Kelly. Now, Daniel Kelly is a Chinese medicine practitioner, just like the rest of us, but he's also the founder and creator of Daobook, which is a new practice management program specifically designed for TCM practitioners to help streamline their practice. So today, we're very excited to have Daniel on to share some sort of tips, strategies, and insights around practice management, time saving, as well as like introduce us a little bit to the Dow book. And if anyone's kind of interested in giving it a try, we'll have a little bit of a special for that. But yeah, I'll hand it over to Daniel to get us started.
Great, thanks, Gavin. Now everyone can hear me and see me okay? Yep, excellent. So I'm just going to share my screen. Okay, so thanks everyone for coming today. So as Gavin said, I'm Dan, or Daniel, but you can call me Dan. I'm a practitioner in Melbourne's northern suburbs. I'm also the director of Daobook, a clinical practice application built for Chinese medicine. So just a bit of a background. So alongside my time as a practitioner, I've also spent time exploring my other interests, technology. A few years ago, I went and studied a diploma of IT, majoring in web and software development. As you might imagine, all of my projects, for some reason, tended to revolve around practice management and Chinese medicine. Before studying the course, I was always trying to think of ways to optimize and smooth out my practice admin because as amazing as the existing software is, there are a lot of processes that still felt a bit clunky for me, and it could be time consuming and took a bit too much of my attention. Um, but yeah, I didn't really have the tools at that time to create what I wanted. But then I did have the tools, and I could start imagining a much smoother practice workflow. So I thought, okay, I'm going to put these ideas into practice and build myself a practice management app that will smooth out these parts for me. I'm going to build out these ideas so that my software doesn't keep getting in the way so much. Now, as you know, when recording treatment details, for example, there are differences between acupuncture, herbal prescriptions, and other kinds of treatments. When you come up with an acupuncture plan, you write down the details once, and then you do that treatment, and that's about it. The important part is that the treatment is recorded and can be referenced. But when you're recording herbal prescriptions, there's usually more admin involved. To start with, you record the original prescription, but then if you're doing granules, you usually have to do recalculations as well as prepare a label. Or you might be going to an external supplier website to order it through them. Then you have to do this process many times a day. I wanted this process to be a lot smoother, and so as to take this stressor out of my day. So today in this talk, we'll do a bit of exploration of this concept called practice friction. So practice friction refers to the small, repetitive tasks that reduce flow in your practice day. These tasks are a normal part of our practice and necessary for running our business. In clinical practice, there are two types of states that we have to interchange between. When we're with clients and treating, we're generally more in our body and in our intuition. In this state, we can see the bigger picture of a client's pattern, and treatment decisions often come from beyond just analytical thinking. When we are doing thought-based administrative tasks, we are somewhat taken out of our clinical presence and enter an analytical thought-based state. Both states are necessary for holistic clinical practice, but I want to take the latter out of the former. The general clinic flow is fine. When we see a client and do their appointment, we're in that body-based intuitive mode. Then we go out the front to the reception, chat to the client, rebook them, take their payment. In this context, there can be a harmonious interchange between the states. Where we might introduce some stress, though, is if we are mixing the two too quickly. Let's imagine a common scenario. We spend 20 minutes with a client in the treatment room. We're both sitting there chatting, we're present, we're in conversation. As we're speaking, we're observing them, we're seeing patterns, we're formulating a treatment in our mind. We're in that present mode. The hop on the table is setting a calm space. You're palpating, you're putting needles in, putting cups on. Then you say, okay, I'll leave you for about 20 minutes to relax. Then this is a perfect time to put the herbal prescription together. You consider their pattern, you think about the formula and the modifications, you write it down. We're all good here still. We're still in a joyous, pleasurable clinical zone. But then you have to go into some math. Grab out the calculator. They need the herbs for this many days. So add all these up, divided by this and times it by this. Now I need a label for this. I write all this down in this clunky label program and make sure it's all formatted correctly for the printer. Actually, I might order the formula through an external dispensary. So I'll go log into their website and select all the herbs and dosages and purchase it for the 10th time today. Or if I'm leaving all my formulas until the end of the day, I'm building myself up an hour of admin later. But if I'm able to significantly reduce this clunky process, I go through the joy of thinking of formulas, I record it, the heavy admin tasks are done for me, I remain in flow as I joyfully dispense the formula. The label is already done for me, so I'll just stick it on. I float back into the treatment room. I haven't left the clinical zone. I continue with other auxiliary treatments. The client feels I'm still present with them. I'm relaxed in the zone. I've saved time and I've saved my clinical focus. Now the treatment is finished. I can go into admin zone with the client, and then when the next client comes, back into clinical zone. These are cleaner separations and aren't really taxing. So when we're trying to change the context quickly through our day, change the state quickly, this can be known as context switching. And that can be like little micro stresses through our day and can be secretly taxing. So context switching is when we shift our attention between different tasks, tools, or mental states. This isn't just in clinical work, it's prevalent in many areas of modern life. You're reading an article, your phone buzzes, you check it, and then where were you? That's context switching. If you didn't have the distraction, you would have remained in the zone. But instead, your brain used extra resources to reorient twice. Another big example is if we're checking emails several times a day. Research shows that when we switch tasks, it can take anywhere from 10 to 23 minutes to fully regain our focus. But it's not just about time. Excessive context switching creates mental fatigue, increases stress, and prevents us from reaching the state of flow where we're fully absorbed in what we're doing. The more that we allow frequent context switches, by the latter part of the day, our attention span is greatly reduced. Same goes for our clarity of thought and decision making. In the prescription workflow we imagined earlier, when you're moving from that joyful clinical zone, formulating herbs, and having to switch to calculator mode and to label formatting mode, each of these switches has these mini costs that all add up through the day. In order to preserve our mental clarity and clinical thinking, we can think about where else we might be allowing unnecessary context switching. When we optimize clinical workflows, we preserve bandwidth for what matters most, being fully present with patients. It can also help us to feel better after a clinic day. So what do we mean by optimizing workflows? We could say it is identifying the annoying friction points that stand out and seeing if there is a way to have it taken care of or automated in some way. As TCM practitioners, we have a unique workflow. We work with specific types of information that other modalities don't use, such as Chinese herbs and formulas. So when we're using practice management software that is trying to cater for a wide range of modalities, it's not going to be optimized for our workflow. Okay, so this part contains a slight bit of tech talk, but I think it's pretty understandable, pretty fine. So our current practice management software solutions aren't optimized for our unique workflows. They do everything else very well: scheduling, appointment reminders, telehealth. But why aren't they optimized? Well, they of course have to remain open to many modalities, and the applications would become way too big if they were to add specific features for all modalities. So when it comes to our unique data types, we have to do a lot manually and use external programs alongside it. There is potential for our computers to automate tasks with our data, but the infrastructure isn't built for it. In our example workflow, we're recording our herb and formula information in plain text fields. It gets saved there, and then that's it. It's buried inside a treatment note, never to be seen again. The computer can't easily utilize it for other tasks. But if we were to have a niche PCM specific infrastructure set up, where we have a built-in herb database, so that when we create a formula, it isn't just text. Each herb is an entity, and then the formula and prescriptions themselves are entities. So then, once saved, the program can easily locate that unique data, transform it, and do other things with it. You enter the information once, then the program takes it wherever you need it. It can be used to optimize our unique workflow. So in order to demonstrate the potential of optimizing, small parts of our workflow, we can look at this example. So if we're talking about our herbal prescription workflow, with our usual methods, that can take about 5 to 7 minutes each one that you do through the day. So here's what that can add up to. If we're writing about, say, 6 prescriptions per day, and each takes 6 minutes of admin work using our current methods, then that adds up to 36 minutes in the day. Multiply that by 5 clinic days. We're spending 3 hours weekly on repetitive prescription admin. Over a year, that's 144 hours, nearly 4 weeks of work time. If we value our time at $120 per hour, that's a bit over $17,000 worth of time spent on these repetitive tasks each year. Those 36 minutes are scattered throughout our day as friction points. It adds up. Okay, so rather than just talking about this, let's have a look at these concepts visually. I'll run through a prescription workflow in 3 ways. Firstly, I'll do the standard non-optimized approach. Then I will demonstrate 2 optimized workflows. The first optimized flow will be for prescribing our own granules and printing a label in our clinic. The second optimized flow will demonstrate ordering a prescription through an external provider. So when I'm running through these demos, we can observe the time it takes, how many times we switch programs, and how many times we're manually manipulating the same data. Okay, so this first demo could look slightly boring, but it is just doing it so we can see the difference. So we'll just book in a client. Okay, so we're seeing a client, taking our notes. All that part's done. And now it's time to put our formula together. And for the sake of the demos, I'll assume that I know the exact formula that I'll be prescribing. So I'm going to prescribe Shai Tohu Tongue, and I'll combine that with Lingui Jewel Gun Tongue. Okay, so try 24 grams, 12 grams, Huang Qin 9 grams, Ren Chen 9 grams, Shengjiang, Gam Sao, style wager by Jew 6 grams and fooling 12 grams. Yep, that's correct. Great. Now I'm going to do a granular formula for this one. So we'll say a total of 200 grams, about 200 grams. So I will just quickly add all these up. 24 plus 12 is 9, plus 9, plus 9 plus 9, plus 6 plus 9. Hang on, sorry. I actually didn't calculate that correctly. Okay. Yep. So that is a total of 108 grams. So to work out my adjusted total, 200 divided by 108. Let's go with 1.85. And then I will change these dosages to those adjusted amounts. Before, so it can be 22, 22. I'll round that up, so I'll go to 17. And then yeah, great. Okay. So now I've got my final formula that I can go and prescribe. I'll put that together for my client. So I'll save that. Then I will get to my label program because I want to print a label for this, and I'll pop that together. Yeah, lovely. Patient name. Lovely. The date. Is it the 8th today? And then I would calculate all those up and confirm the total grams. So it'll be about 200 grams. And then that label is all good and ready to go, and I can print that. So that's similar to how I was doing it before. And obviously, like, we can use instead of adding it all up manually, you might have like a Excel document or something that helps speed that up as well. So that's possible also. So next we'll have a look at like an optimized version of that. So if I book in another client, view my notes, then time to add in the formula. So use the prescription builder here. Search the formula, check Chahu tongue, gun tongue. Okay, yep, dosages look good. I'm gonna do 200 grams total for this. Okay, yep, they've all been adjusted. Select my templates for dosage and administration. Yep, they're fine. Finalize that. It's done. Now I want to print a label. So go to print label. There's a prescription up top there. Click print. And then it's ready to go. So it's pulled all that data. So all the prescription information, title and herbs and everything. My practitioner details and everything are on there as well. So it took a lot less time and it was very much just in the flow of the consult notes. Didn't really have to look away much. It all just, a lot of it was taken care of. Yeah. So the other one I want to show you is if you want to order the prescription through an external provider. So in this case, that would be through Empirical Health. So to do that, first you would set up your account. So if you've got an account with Empirical Health already, then so you pop into settings, integrations, connect to Empirical Health. And if it's your first time doing this, then it would redirect you to Empirical Health's website. You log in there, and then it'll bring you back here. And once you do that, it's all set up. So if I go do the same process. Yeah, open the notes, add a prescription. So now you've got the option to select Empirical Health dispensary. So I'll have that selected. And now in this example, so we actually have access to Empirical Health's full product range as well. So if you're not wanting to do a custom formula, but you want to prescribe one of Empirical Health's products, you'll select product, and then so they're all in here. So you can select from all those if you want to do that. For this one, we'll do a custom formula. So we'll do our formula again. And save that. And then we'll go to prescribe. So this is the section where you order from Empirical Health. And you can see our prescription there. So select that. Select the disclaimer. Proceed to checkout. It takes you to their checkout page. And I'll click pay now. And then that's done. And if you want to view the status of that order, you can look at all the orders, and that updates the status automatically. So when it's prepared and when it's sent out and everything. Yeah. So once again, we're having all of our data taken care of. So all of our provider information, all of our formula data and client address and everything is all just being collected, passed through to Empirical Health, to their checkout. And then we don't have to leave this program if you don't want to. Okay. Okay, so those examples showed how a niche software solution can eliminate friction during prescription creation. So while we're on the topic, I want to show you some of the other features and benefits that come with this approach. So in order to make that happen, you've got herbs and formula databases. So this application comes with a fairly good base of herbal formulas. It's up to you if you want to edit their dosages to your liking. And then you can also add your own formulas as well. So then any custom formulas you create will be available when you create prescriptions. And similarly with herbs. And also with this approach, when you're saving this kind of data in a more unified, accessible way, then we have much more direct access to prescription history and analytical information as well. So, for example, if I look at this client and go directly to their prescriptions, and I can see them all there. They're not tucked away in buried notes. And if I want to instantly repeat formula, I can do that as well. And then, yeah, then we've got the data section as well. So you can look at what your most common formulas are, your most common herbs that you use, and then you're recording how many prescriptions you do as well. Yeah. So obviously we've focused intensely on the herbal prescribing features. Um, but the Daobook is actually a complete clinical practice solution. So you can use it for all your standard tasks, such as scheduling, reminders, direct SMS chat, invoicing, products, online bookings, and telehealth. Has integrations with Square Payment Gateway and Zero Accounting. All data is encrypted and stored in Australia, regularly backed up. Now, as you may have noticed, in terms of specialized features, Daobook is currently more herbs focused. This is largely due to the fact that herbs can be more admin heavy. Having said that, there is potential to implement a similar system for acupuncture. This might be a little more complex given that different acupuncture systems have different kinds of points and different naming systems. But yeah, currently acupuncture and other treatments are saved the same way as other platforms in regular text fields. I'm open to hearing any feedback on this. So speak a bit more about Daobook. Our philosophy is to provide comprehensive practice management while staying simple, intuitive, and TSM specific. Daobook is early in its journey. We haven't been around for as long as the apps you're probably currently using, so we haven't had as much polishing time. But that also means we're ready to be shaped by TCM practitioners. I'm growing it carefully and intentionally, prioritizing excellent support over rapid expansion. But the core workflows you've seen today, prescription building, label generation, empirical health integration, these are working extremely well and are already saving practitioners significant time. So what does this practitioner-based approach mean for you? Well, you get direct access to the developer. When you have questions or suggestions, you're talking directly to the person who built this. And as a practitioner, I'm more likely to understand your needs. Second, your feedback shapes what gets built next. It's driven by real practitioner needs, your needs, our needs. And this is a partnership. We succeed when your practice succeeds. I'm invested in making sure this works for you. Now, if it does interest you to give this a try, if you want to try Daobook and try a bit more of a niche type of solution, there will of course be some friction involved in that process itself. Like any platform change, there would be an adjustment period. You'll have to import your client data, you get used to a new user interface, and build muscle memory for the workflows. If you're planning to dispense in clinic and print labels, you'll need a supportive thermal label printer to get that set up. You'll just start small, try with a few new patients first, keep your old system running in parallel if that feels comfortable. It might take a couple of weeks to ease your way in, but could be worth the investment. Once you're set up, you've got empirical health built in, herb and formula databases. You'll start collecting your prescription data in a meaningful way. You'll be saving some time. You'll be saving some focus through the day. Yeah. So for a bit, I'll hand it over to Gavin and he can share some details.
Thanks, Dan. Yeah, so first of all, thank you for sharing that today. I think the idea of context sw and paying attention to where we're context switching is quite beneficial. I know I'm a sucker for constantly switching between things, so yeah, I need to focus on that a little bit more, and yeah, I can
Mm,
really see how this program can streamline that herbal practice and dispensary uh, quite well. One person made a suggestion here in terms of how you might do that for like acupuncture. You could have
cool.
the acupuncture treatment kind of like the formula, and you're kind of picking individual points. And I guess on top of that, you could maybe have some kind of if you wanted to save your own like protocols and things like that. Anyway, just some little ideas. And in a sec, we'll open it up to some more questions and everything. But for everyone here, if anyone was interested in trying out Daobook, we've got a little bit of a partnership discount and special offer for everyone here. So normally, if you were to jump onto Daobook, you can sign up for a 14-day free trial. But what we're offering through China Book Sydney is a 28-day free trial. You don't need to put in your credit card details for that. So there's no um, pressure or anything like that. But if you do like the system, then there's 10% off your subscription for the first year. The subscription kind of depends if you're an individual practitioner or multiple practitioners, but for a standard single practitioner, you're looking at $39 a month, excluding GST. And also for students, there's a discounted rate there as well, $19. You get full access to everything during the trial. And yeah, if you do decide that you want to crossover, then Dan will also help with bringing over all the data and migrating everything over to make that as smooth as possible. So yeah, if you're interested in that, check out daobook.com.au. And when you click on to start the free trial, you just put in the coupon code China Books, all one word, and that will switch it over so that you get that 28-day free trial. And if you do continue on from there, you get that 10% discount on the subscription of your choice from there. So I might hand it back over to Dan. We've had a few questions come through. Let's just see where we are. Okay, so first of all, Dan, Maria's just asking, can it also integrate with other providers like Sun Herbal or Herbal International, or are there any plans for further integrations?
Um, that might be a slightly complex well, it's a good question with maybe a complex answer. Um, yeah, at this point, no, there aren't plans for that. Imperial Health is the helper supplier for Daobook. Yeah.
Cool. I've just popped in the details for anyone interested into the chat group of how to sign up for that extended free trial and everything. Next question, does Daobook have the ability to integrate patient files and other data from other programs such as like Clinico or Halixi?
Yes, definitely. So so like data imports, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yep. So we have a data import feature here. So in the settings, go to import data, new import. And then, so we have data imports
The
optimized
meeting.
for, have it optimized for Clinico, Nucle, and Helixy. So you would just see in whatever platform you're using, you would export the data from that program. That could be for clients, their treatment notes, and products you might have. Then that'll export it as a CSV file, and then you'll come into Daobook, and then you'll just upload those files, and then once that's put through, I'll aim to have that all set up for you within 48 business hours. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, it looks like you've already kind of like sort of tailored it to some of those more popular practice management programs and how to import all that data. That looks good.
Yeah.
Another person's just wondering if, so we saw that Daobook integrates with Xero. If somebody isn't using Xero for their accounting, what kind of reporting does Daobook do, particularly like financial reporting that they could use for another program or whatever?
Yes. Okay. So at this point, so Xero is the only external software that we have a direct connection with. But if you want to get your financial, if you want to get your clinic financial information and reports, you can do all that here as well. So if you go to the data section, go to financial, you can look at your financial data here. And you can select which period, which financial year, and in addition to that, you can even do accounting reports as well. So profit and loss statements, cash flow statements, that kind of thing. Yeah, so you can do a fair bit of financial reporting within Daobook alone. Does that answer the question?
Think so. Laura, if there was anything else that you wanted to add to that, feel free to unmute yourself and jump in. Otherwise, we've got another question from Mary. How does it do backups for data? Laura just said, yeah, that answered her question. Thanks.
Great. Yes, so Daobook as a web application is hosted with a specific provider. So the provider is called Amazon Web Services, and so when you are hosted on their platform, you can configure how often you want to have backups done. So because this is in a healthcare context, we do data backups once a day, and that's usually done at a low traffic time of the day. Yeah, so the host provider takes care of that because that's where the database is, and then they can provide data backups so that if anything does happen, then we can pull in from that backup to restore everything as it was.
Right. So another question here from Camille. Does this also support multiple practice locations that might have individual calendars and online bookings, as well as like communication method? I think you might have already touched on that. It does support like text and email reminders and things like that. And can we create templates for things like intake forms? And have Daobook email them automatically to patients for us. Um, yeah.
Yes, yes. Um, so yep. So within your one account, you can have as many locations as you like. So in my example here, this is my location Ignite TSEM. Then I can change to my other location, which is I've called Home Clinic. And so then of course I can adjust my practice hours for each location as well. And then when you give people your booking link as well, they can choose uh, bookings. So if somebody goes to your booking page, they can select which location to you at, and each location has its own services as well. Yep. So that's the location, clinic locations. Intake forms, yes. So we do have custom intake forms. So you can build them, build the intake forms, and so once you build an intake form, you can select which appointment types work with that intake form. So you might, I guess an example is like you want to send it out with an initial appointment. So you'd save that. And so then if somebody comes through here and makes an appointment for an initial appointment, then it would automatically send them that intake form, and then you'll be notified when the patient finishes that intake form, and so then you'll be able to go to that new patient's profile, go to intake forms, then you'll be able to display that here. And then to touch more on the communications aspect, so we do have automated appointment reminders. Yeah. So you can select when to have those sent. You can have it sent 24 hours before, 48 hours, or 7 days before. You can have all or how many of those you like. You can customize your reminders as well. And then in this panel here, you can go to client SMS. So if you prefer to send SMS messages to your clients in your clinic app rather than using your personal phone, you can do that here in this panel. So you would, look up a client, select them, and then you can send them a SMS message, and then you'll receive their replies here as well. Um, yeah,
Great. It looks really good actually. Um, uh, if you've still got some time, we've had a couple of extra questions come through.
yeah.
Um, just wondering about if somebody has products or inventory that aren't maybe necessarily herbal formulas, say like creams or other general retail things. Is there a space for keeping like inventory and keeping track of all that? I have a feeling it might be under the product section there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So the products section, so yeah, they can all be listed here. Um, yep, so you can create new products here and yeah, track the inventory numbers as well. And then whenever you have that product in an invoice, then it'll of course automatically deduct from the stock level. Um, and yeah, so here I've got like an exercise band, for example. Um, so if you wanted to sell those, there are two ways to do that. You can either if you create an invoice, you can add a product here, exercise band, and add it to the invoice that way. Or if you want to do it in your clinical flow, you can also add it from here as well. Um, so you can add it in your clinic flow and then save that. And then when you create an invoice to take payment, then that product will already be in that invoice. So the invoice is already all set up for you. Um, yeah.
Yeah, great. And I just wanted to make sure I covered for, just in case Debbie didn't see my reply to her message, she was wondering if, because she joined a little bit late, I think you might have missed the initial demo. She was wondering if we can use like the formula templates in-house. So yes, that is possible. What we'll do is this is being recorded, so we'll put this up available to everyone to rewatch it and check it out. But also, um, I mean, you've got a month to or 28 days to give this a try and test out all the features. So I really encourage anyone to who's kind of interested to see what Daobook can do and how it might be able to streamline and make things more simple for you in practice to just jump on and give it a try. There's just one more question here from Penny before we wrap up. With the intake form, if somebody hasn't filled it in beforehand, is there an easy way to bring it up for them in the clinic and fill it in like on the spot?
Um, haven't thought about that. So would that be,
I mean, I guess you could maybe just have them bring up that, find their email, bring that up, and then fill it in on their phone. Or if you wanted to fill it in on your own computer with them, would you be able to just go into their account and bring up the link to the intake form or something and just fill it out with them on the computer?
yeah, it's a good question because so I've got it so it sends automatically. So like they should have it in their email account. So then I guess on the spot they could go and find it.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, is there a way to print it? Oh, as another option, so they can just fill it in.
uh, yeah, no, we don't have that actually. Um, so it's a good question. It could be well something for me to think about. So either making it printable, or maybe being able to easily resend it or something like that.
Yeah, or just share a link or something like that that you could bring up
Yeah.
in window if you wanted to fill it in with them.
Yes. Yeah. I'll make a note of that. That's yeah. Thanks for that
Uh,
question. It's good.
Yeah, I think that's also the neat thing about working with somebody who's a practitioner and working with somebody with a small team like yourself who can actually take feedback and start to implement things quite quickly and help kind of like tailor the program to the needs of who's using it. So I think that's quite powerful.
For sure.
One other little question here is, do you have a consent form in the program? I guess that means can you build that? Does that mean build that into the intake form? But I think you
Yeah.
get them to sign it as part of the intake form and everything.
Um, yeah, so you can build that into an intake form. You can also, so for public bookings, if somebody books online, you can create terms and conditions and ask them to provide acceptance for that and then make a booking. Um, but yeah, additionally in the intake form, there are like various elements that you can use um, to create that yourself if you like. Um, yeah, so there's a couple of approaches you can use for that. Yeah.
Great. All right. Well, thanks, Dan. If anyone has some like any last minute questions, feel free to unmute yourself. But we might wrap up there. I've just popped into the chat again. If you do want to take Dan up and us on that offer to get that extended free trial, just go to daobook.com.au, sign up for the trial, and enter the coupon code ChinaBooks, all one word. And also, if you do like it and continue on, that will also give you 10% discount off your selected membership for the first year. So I highly, yeah, it's been really, really great to have you, Dan, and sort of like look through all those different things and ways that can save us on the draining admin time, so that we can
Yeah.
focus more on being a practitioner in clinic.
Yeah.
That's yeah, really cool. And yeah, thanks for everyone who's joined us and tuned in today. As I mentioned, we're recording this, so once we've done a little edit, we'll have it posted up if you wanted to review anything. And yeah, we'll share it with other people who weren't able to make it. But thanks everyone, and enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. And thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone. Thank you.